Welcome back to episode 3 in What to Do and Not to Do Part 4. Yes, still making these videos because rather than take any type of accountability, they're still trying to figure out ways to just get out of this. And certain people are still trying to figure out ways to get me out of here altogether. But we'll see what happens. Until then, I will be talking to my story. So in this episode, we talk about if you ever get to a place in your career where you are an investigator for the Attorney General's office and you're assigned a case pertaining to a professional basketball team. You should do your due diligence and interview people. If you request a witness list and that witness list has like 15, 16, 17 people on it, how is it that none of the people that you spoke to were privy to certain details and information? And then in the incident where Jessica was yelling at me and then lied and said that I've verbally and physically assaulted her, why was Jessica not deposed? I ask myself that all the time. So if you are with the Attorney General's office and the main complaint concerns one Jessica McNeese, who yelled at me, but then said that I was yelled at her and physically assaulted her, why was she not deposed by the Attorney General's office? Why was she not one of the people that you would talk to if you're actually trying to do your due diligence and do a thorough investigation? And then the other lady, Jennifer, who lied and spread a lot of gossip around me, and I detailed that in my complaint. Why was she not deposed either? I find myself looking back at that investigation, and I was actually the one who wanted them to continue on with the investigation. I could have sued them a lot sooner, but I had faith in my local Attorney General, Chris Mays, her Office of Civil Rights. I had faith that they would do the right thing. If I could go back and do it all over again, I would have just sued them because that was a sham of an investigation. The first person that they deposed was my former boss who perjured herself. The second person was the employee relations person. We'll call him Rob, and he perjured himself too. And then none of the rest of the HR team that you said I was always having issues with, always fighting in the office with, always getting loud within the office, none of those people were deposed. I wonder why that is. Could it be because they didn't feel like perjuring themselves? Hmm. I don't know. But please, if you ever take on a role that is as important as being an investigator for the Attorney General's office and the Civil Rights Department, you know, even with this current administration, when you see the new, you know, Civil Rights Department and everybody looks the same, it makes it seem like in the future there's going to be less and less justice in this country unless you are this color. But that's part of why I continue on my fight, because while a certain group of people who love to be racist and think other people are below them, look at all the nonsense that people that look like this have done to me. And now we're here almost 3 years later. You can't produce anything that's not fabricated. You've perjured yourselves. And I don't even think certain people could tell the truth if you paid them to. But now people forgot the lies that they told, getting sloppy out here in these streets. And they're afraid to go to trial, so I heard allegedly, because, it's one thing when you are talking to a body like the Attorney General's office who clearly isn't taking the complaint serious. It is quite something else to go to trial and actually have to get up on stand in front of jury and perjure yourself. But we'll see what happens. But if you ever find yourself in an important role and you are an investigator, please do your due diligence to help give victims justice instead of feeding in to the popular basketball team because they're the popular basketball team. I really do hope, Miss Westbrook, in the future that you do better. And looking back at all of this, was it worth it?